10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What he will play? G6, D3. What else? Castle should play faster. Yes, bishop D3. Right. C6, bishop E6, bishop D3, queen take E6. Yes. Knight on G5. Yes. Simple take on E3. Take on G5 most probably. F take E4, queen F2. Resign. E5, yes. Knight F6, H5, queen H4, H3. He must know something. But why not take on G4? Rook H1, check. Knight C3, king C3, check. Knight B4, and yes. Capture on B2. Bishop take D2. What about knight? Okay, king D2. Now F5. Queen F6. Yes. Rook A2. Knight F6. Bishop take F6. E5. F6. D5. D5. Now took on E5. Knight F3. Short castle. E5. Knight E4. Bishop F5. Yes. Play Queen G6. Yes. Yes. Knight take F3. Take on F5. Right idea. F4. Rook F5. Queen D3. Queen B3. Okay. Rook F2. King F7 most probably. He resigned. E6. Knight F3. Bishop E7. F4. C take D4. Bishop takes E5. D take E5. Take on H7. C5. A3. Some move. Knight take B4. Okay, D5. Look, should play D5. Knight B5 now. Short castle. Yes. Bishop H6. He is using F take G6. Very interesting decision. Bishop take F5. Queen G7. Or long castle. Queen G6. King F7 most probably. F6. Rook G1. Knight E7 should play. G7. Here is E6, bishop E7, E5, D5, knight take E4, knight on G5, maybe now F5, queen F6, give check, king F1, yes, more easy solution, F take E4, queen D2, rook F3, resign. Knight F6, knight C6, trying to cut also. Now knight E5. What about queen E2? Knight G4. He must know something. But why not take on G4? Yes, take on E4 maybe. G5, yes. Bishop F6, now bishop E5, king F6, bishop C5, yes, king E7, king E3, E5, knight F3, take on D4, A3, some move, bishop E3, he must know something, but why not take on G4, king E2, yes, take F6, rook D8, check, he must know something, but why not take on G4, okay, still king on G4, H5, take G5, only move king H6, very good move, resign. Knight F6 not looks right decision. D take E5, okay, F4 move is should be right. Knight take E5, knight D7, bishop B2, D5, queen F6, yes, take F6, queen D2, need to make rook E8, bishop take D7, suddenly, but what if bishop E8 move? Queen G7, king D5, king G3, queen D4. Can I take on D6? Very question also. King E5, king F6. Knight F6. Castle. Knight C8, knight C6, okay. Bishop take F3. Bishop G4. Knight C3. Bishop E7. Knight E2. Take on E7. Take on F5. Right idea. So, rook take E2. Rook F2. Rook A5, yes. Now rook E6 not working. Now just easy. A3. King F3, yes. This check. Okay, maybe queen A6 idea. So knight F6, E5, knight F3, bishop E7, queen E2, D5, bishop takes E5, bishop D7. Okay, knight D4, B4, H4. He has decision, but I think he should take on C3. Rook take G7, queen take E6, G take F5, Queen E4 now, Queen C4, Queen G7, Queen E8, Queen F6, Queen C6, Queen E6 now. Oh, yes. Knight F6 not looks right decision. Knight going on C6, Knight C7, Queen D8, Bishop C8, E4 unbelievable move. What about Knight D2? Knight D2, no, Knight D2 is not, cannot be recommended. Bishop D7, E5, Bishop D3, Bishop E6, Bishop D5, Rook D1, take on E7, Rook E7, Bishop G7, yes, what about G6 right move? King F2, King D4, take on C6, King C3, here. Knight F6, Knight take E5, castle, also very smooth, Queen take E2, Rook E1, check, Bishop D2, check, Knight take E4, Bishop take F6, G4, F6, take F6, H5, King F3, King D5, triangle he made now, A6, King E3 enough, yes, resign. Knight C6, Knight D, Bishop D3, D6, take F6, Bishop take F6. What now if Queen E7? H5, Queen E2, Queen G7, Bishop H6. What's his idea? Yes, Queen F5. Most probably now King D1 he will play, yes. Queen F2, Rook E2, check. King F7, okay. Rook take G7. Bishop D7. Yes. King E8. King C8. Yes. Knight F6. Bishop E7. Yes. C6. C4 maybe. Knight D4. Knight E5. Knight take E5. Short castle. E take D5. E4. Queen H4. Yes. D5, D5 now, Knight F6, Knight BD7, D6, Knight E5, yes, Queen E2, at least I can take on C4, Bishop D6, F3, okay, why not D4, move Bishop on B6, Bishop take D2, Knight H5, Queen D1, or Rook A, E8, G take F4 is losing, G6, take on H7 even, okay, F4 move is sure. Knight F6, so Knight D5, Knight F3, yes, make some threats. Take on D3, Knight G5, Queen H6, okay, D5, look, should play D5. Take on C6. Okay, Knight D4. Bishop C5. Normal move here looks like C3. Yes, why not E5? He wants immediately. Most natural move Bishop E2. King E2. Queen H5. Take on D3. King C2 maybe. E4. He has decision. But I think he Knight F6, take F6, Bishop take e7. Take on h7 even. Knight on g5. Take on d3. King d2. Give him check. King f7. Knight d5. Cutting all pieces now. There is some also tactical by rook g5. King f7. King d1. Yes. King f7. Yes. King f7. Yes. No. e5. Knight f3. Yes, make some threats. Maybe short castle. Bishop e3. Bishop f2. Not draw. d4. d8. d5. Bishop d7. Bishop d3. C bishop take d5. Also maybe knight take on e4. Bishop f3. Bishop f6. What about queen e1? e4. This unbelievable move. Bishop d4. Okay, check. Let him take on f4. Bishop f6. Yes. Knight f6 not looks right decision. Knight d4. Castle. Bishop b5 he prepared. Why not? Knight d7. Knight take d7. Queen g6. Check. Yes. King h1. f3. Tempo move. Queen f6. Knight g3. Simple take on e3. Rook. Yes. King f8. Okay, check. Bishop g2. Here. c5. Knight f3. Knight c3. Bishop e2. Long castle. Play d4. Take on d4. Take on d4. And play, for example, c5. Take on d3. f3. Yes. Queen take e5. F take e4. Queen b7. I don't believe he can play b3. b3 should take. Queen on c5. Take on f5. e5. Knight f3. Yes, make some threats. Bishop take f3. Bishop d6. d4. Knight g6. Bishop g4. Also h5. Now knight g4. Maybe it will help him. Knight d6. Maybe take on g5. Yes. King d1. e5. f4. Knight f6 not looks right decision. Take on e5. d take e5. Bishop g5. Yes. Check. Bishop e2. Why not? Queen d2. He missed bishop f4 and now he is losing. Rook dg1 and knight d7. Bishop take h7. He must know something. But why not take on g4? He resigned. Why not d5? Queen take f3. Knight f6. Oh. Bishop e7. Why not d5? Bishop b4. Maybe now f5. Queen e2. Need to make rook e8. Yes. h6. Rook c8. Rook takes c5. Rook f1. What difference? Queen b6. Some check by e5. Not sure also. Bishop f3. King h2. Not right move. Check. King f2. Queen e5. Queen h5. G take h5. Activate king. King f4. Queen was on a4. Now I will play only. Knight f6. Oh. e4. What else? Castle should play faster. Bishop b4. Check. c3. With idea queen f6. Knight e3. Yes. Trying to cut knight. With check. Simple take on e3. Yes. g6. Give check. King h8. Only move. What else than bishop on g5? d6. Resign. Knight f6. Knight f3. Yes, make some threats. Bishop take f3. Knight c6. Trying to cut also. Take on f5. d6. Check. He resign now and yes. Resign. d5, d5 now. F take e4. h3 not don't believe. Bishop b5 he prepared. Why not? Bishop g3. Make some check. Capture on b2. Yes. Now positional idea bishop take on c3. So you should also not allow queen d2 resign. Knight f6 not looks right decision. Queen d4. Knight take d4. Take on d4. d4. Bishop e7. Bishop h6. What's his idea? d4. King e7. Check. Normal move here looks like c3. Yes. h3. Pawn up on h6. King d6. g7. Yes. Yes. g7. King c2 maybe. Knight e4. Queen e7. King f4. Maybe I missed this move. King g6. So yes, he resigned. Why not d5? e4. f3. Queen f6. Okay, f4 move is should be right. Knight c3. Bishop b6. Take on e4 now. Queen d3. Now knight e5. Rook e8. Of course. Rook e8. King f3. So what? Bishop e4. h3, I guess. Bishop g4. Knight f6. Why not? e5. He wants immediately. Bishop e2. Why not? Try to use black diagonal like bishop g5. King h1. Rook f8. Rook g1. Yes. Take on d3. Yes. Yes. Queen g2. Yes. With idea queen f6. Bishop e3. Most probably after knight d2. King f8. Maybe rook take g7. Bishop f4. He resigned. e5. Knight f3. Yes, make some threats. Knight take e4. What now? Knight c3 is not take f6. c3 of course. Bishop b6. Okay, check. Yes. King e1. Yes. Now f5. Yes. Bishop d7. bishop take f5, king f1, or rook a e8,